call the cops on him. So call the cops. I'm like, he's locked me out and he has my baby. So hard. God, it was so hard.
Wow.
It was hard. So I was like, oh my God. In Australia, I now have a boyfriend. I've kind of pulled away from the Kenyan community, which is another big mistake. And this is something that happened because I think he was older, he owned the space, he knew everyone in one, like he was just so connected. So I automatically ended up hanging out with his people and not hanging out with my people as much and stuff. And then you just slowly get disconnected without noticing. And then suddenly you're not happy. So you're isolated, like, where am I gonna go? Like it really puts you in a difficult space. So I think that played a lot in me not realizing my value, because I was like, oh my God, I don't have anyone. I'm in Australia, like I'm alone. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I had removed myself from the Kenyan community.
So you never, sorry to cut you off, but you never felt like, hey babe, or your boyfriend, I'm gonna go hang out with the girls today, or no?
Nope. It wasn't like that. He was so dominant. We always did his things. Yeah. So hardly ever. Okay, maybe 1 time out of 10 we'd go and do Kenyan things, but then it was always his things. But when I started getting to know myself, I remember sometimes just going, hey, whether you're coming or not, I'm going to this Kenyan thing. And I started to slowly pull away and become my own person. But I remember that happening when I was about 25. I think that's when I really started to know myself and be comfortable in my own skin.
When you said you started to know yourself, what was how? What were you doing to start to be like, you know what? No.
I don't know whether it's about doing. It's just a realization.
Okay.
It's just something that happens inwardly. Like, I almost feel like you become mature at age 25. Like, something else happens, clicks. So for me, at age 25, something clicked. And again, at age 30, something clicked. And again, slowly as I get older, I'm just like, man, I know myself. There's stuff I'm willing to put up with. And there's stuff I'm just like, you know what? Don't need you.
Yeah.
Don't need you, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of knowing yourself and understanding your worth and being very clear about your values and what you want to stand for and not for, to be able to do that. Some things for me, I just cannot compromise on. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's become like that the older I get.
This video is sponsored by Eve Rabash's Patreon.
I can tell you guys, content creation is a game changer. But the thing is, you got to be patient. You got to be able to put in the work day after day, time after time, in order to get what you want in life. I've really looked at my experience. I've looked at what I've gone through, and I'm like, you know what? I can start helping people now. I can help people become content creators because I have found so many gems, so much knowledge. I mean, come on, the record speaks for itself. You go head out on my YouTube channel and you see what I'm doing out there. We are doing numbers. YouTube shorts are going crazy. My vlogs are going crazy, dropping every single day. I love you guys, man. I want you to grow. I want you to see a pathway for yourself. There's no limit to what you can achieve and where you are going. And if you're really serious about content creation, if you're really serious about being a YouTuber, I got the gems and I'm giving them away on my Patreon.
Yeah.
So it's just something that, because I think it's very important, even just the space of relationships, of self-love, like you said, how much do I know myself? I mean, some people just nowadays they just get into relationships without even spending time with themselves. Can you be alone with yourself? And like you said, certain things that now I'm not willing to accept that. No.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna go do this or do this. So let's talk about that experience of being a mother. So you're 24 years of age. Now you're pregnant. What was that like? And you're obviously again in Australia. That experience. What?
Scared. So I had Paris's dad, and that was good that he was there and supportive. But I was always scared about what my family will think.
Wow.
So I did not talk about it until Paris was born. Oh, wait. My dad did not know about Paris until after she was born. Really? I know. I was so scared. Every time I wanted to say anything, I was just super, super scared. So I didn't. My brothers did. And you know how I told you my dad was really almost fierce, like we were all scared of him. And I would be the person who would, my brothers would send and go, oh yeah, you talk to dad, whatever. I was like, hey, can you guys tell dad that I'm pregnant? They're like, hey, Wambui, no, me I can't. Everyone was like, I can't do it. So yeah, so he didn't know about Paris until she was born.
Wow. That's crazy. So like, did you have a support system a little bit? Like, you're about to conceive birth. Like, obviously you have your Paris's dad, but was there anyone else, or was it just him?
Yes.
Okay.
Luckily, at that point, I had drawn back my friends, so I had really close friends like Wanyika, Auntie Nix.
Yeah.
Nix, Rehema, Yolande. They were all like really in my life, and they were great support systems. But yeah, so other than them, and they were all hustling, like trying to, like just get things done, wanting to like, party and stuff like that. And I'm busy like being pregnant. Like they kind of had time for me, but not that much time.
Yeah. Like, we're going to go out.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And then, so did having Paris then, how did that play now into the relationship?
So I had Paris. And then 3 months later, I went to Kenya.
Okay.
And then I went to Kenya. So I went to Kenya and I was in Kenya for over a year.
Oh, wow.
And it's during that period that I found myself like holy. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to go back and be in this relationship. Yeah.
Did you go with Paris?
Yes,
of course. So then when I came back, I already knew in my head that I wanted to like break away, but I didn't know how to do it. So I was like, okay, I'll go back. I'll stay with him while I make my plan. And that's what I kind of did until, we had a fight one night and I couldn't like stay, like just be quiet or whatever. At this point I was like, no, you're not gonna talk to me like that or whatever. And then he kicked, like, what happened? I went outside and I left Paris in the house and I was like, oh my God, I'm so upset, whatever. I'm gonna go outside for a bit of, some fresh air. And then he locked me out. I didn't take my keys. He did not let me back in. So I'm like, okay, shikes, I guess my plans just like fallen through because at that point I'd already gotten a place. I'd kind of bought some furniture, but I wasn't fully ready to like move out. So like my thing fell through before I could get out. So he locked me out and I was like, oh my God, knock, knock, knock. He wouldn't open. I had to call the cops on him. Wow. So call the cops. I'm like, he's locked me out and he has my baby. He has my baby and he's locked me out. And you're a woman though, yeah.
So the cops came and he was like, no, she's not coming back in. Here's the baby. So that's how we went our separate ways. So oh my God, it was so hard. God, it was so hard.
Wow.
Gosh, it was hard. I remember, so we're outside. He basically just like packed some things, like he could pick like some of my clothes, put them in like a black garbage bags.
This video is sponsored by Eve Rabash's Patreon.
And chucked them out to the cops. And that was me. That was our beginning, me and Paris.
How old was Paris?
She was months old. We'd come back from Kenya. She was maybe a year, 6 months around there. So I was like, oh my God, what do I do? My friends always come through. So Paul's sister, Gloria, used to